did. I think you are a true entrepreneur, Scott. And I say that lovingly. But I met Scott about a year ago, and we stayed in touch, and he asked me tough questions, and I kept coming back, and finally I twisted his arm, and here he is with me today, and I really, really appreciate it. You've made such a difference. You've made such a difference. Speech because many of you have been with me for 18 months. And some of you are new this evening, so you are going to have to do a lot of work in 7 days to catch up. So I'm not going to give you my full stump speech. I think the thing that you ought to know is who I am as a person and what I have done and what I hope to do. And who I am as a person I owe to my family, to my mother and father, Cynthia and Jerry Silbert, who are here this evening. Raised me in a wonderful, wonderful household in the People's Republic of Brookline. Got me out at 8 years old campaigning for George McGovern. Dedicated their lives to public service. My mother and father are both VA doctors serving our veterans. Went to the best medical schools in the country. Chose service. And had that model for me and my 3 siblings. I went off to Harvard. I got excited about entrepreneurship and business. Went to Wall Street, and after 2 years on Wall Street, I was accepted to Harvard Business School, and I decided to defer it, to pursue really what had been my upbringing, to see how I could bring together my love of business and entrepreneurship, which, as you all know, I love. But how could I use it to help people help themselves and improve their lives? And primarily, my work and my life and my career has been helping the most disadvantaged citizens. And that's why I'm coming forward this time. That's the direction that our state is going in. We're going into a direction where the middle class is being squeezed. And we have a lot more poor people and a lot of rich people. And people in between are having a tough time. And I really want to be the voice for our disadvantaged citizens and for our middle class who's having a hard time hanging on here in Massachusetts. And of course, primary, first and foremost, is job creation. And that's something that I've done. That's something that I love. I want to roll up my sleeve and work with more zip cars, more iRobots, more precious cargoes, and Royal Springs family golf. I mean, these stories many of you have heard, and if you haven't, you should see them in my video. And that creates the money to do everything else, to give better schools to my children. My son Caleb, I will tell you, successfully started kindergarten yesterday. There was, and my parents actually, so sweet, drove up to the bus stop, and we were all waiting on the bus, and we scooted him onto the bus, and he turned around, and he looked like he was about to cry. And his daddy said, "Caleb, you're going to see your buddy Nathan." And he smiled, and he went off on the school bus, and he came home, and yay, we did it, he had a good day. So he's going to stay in kindergarten. But, I share that story with you because my son is going to public school. I have 3 children. They will all be going to public schools because that's what we can afford. And we want those schools to be the best schools. And I want my children to have the best education. I want your children to have the best education. But I'm really worried about many children that aren't in this room or aren't represented by people in this room. There's so many kids who aren't getting the best education. So what I know is jobs and job creation. And what that does is create the money for everything else that we care about. For education, for the environment, for housing, for rail, another big priority of mine. And my third priority is ending homelessness, beginning with family homelessness. We as Democrats and as people have to start talking about things like homelessness. And I think for me, running on a jobs platform, running on a business platform, I can bring these issues forward. We have to talk about them, and we have to be ashamed that we permit this. It's not only, ending homelessness is not only the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. We need everyone engaged in our economy. So that's why I'm running. I will tell you, it's been a wild, wild journey. I mean, early on, I didn't know this. Thank God I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't know that everyone doubted me, except, of course, people who knew me. But I was talking to a state senator today, trying to get my Get Out the Vote efforts today, and we'll go nameless. And he said, "Gosh, no one thought you had a shot." And thank God I didn't know that. He said, "You're right in there, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to pull this one off." And he said, "You're right in there." So that's one thing. Never believe. The second thing you're hearing, and I'm hearing, it's a meaningless post. How could it possibly be meaningless? You just have to bring creativity to it. We were off this weekend. It was probably one of the highlights of the whole campaign for me. We were off kayaking and canoeing in 6 of our state's rivers. It was amazing. It was amazing. And if all you can do as Lieutenant Governor is raise the visibility of an issue like the quality of our environment or our rivers, you have such an opportunity to raise visibility. Now, I think I'm going to do a heck of a lot more. But anyone that tells you that this is a meaningless position has no imagination and no creativity and no sense of how to leverage the office. So I'm really excited. I do want to thank so many people who have helped me along the way. First and foremost, Christy Mock and Molly Maple. To drive over here, I was at an event in Jamaica Plain, and Kathy Robertson, a volunteer, said, "I'm afraid of Christy. We got to get there on time." For those of you, everyone's afraid of Christy today, and that's a good thing. Ann Holdsworth, my treasurer, I want to thank her as well. Ann is also afraid of Christy today. And you've kept us in line. I want to thank my uncle and my aunt and my cousin and my brother. I mean, I have to tell you, this has really been a family affair. So forgive me if I have left anyone out. So many people in this room have volunteered, have made a difference. As Scott says, we're not there yet. Honestly, my biggest opponent is not Deborah Goldberg, it's not Tim Murray, it's obscurity. Don't let me lose due to obscurity. My guess is that 50% of the people will walk into that office not knowing who they're going to support. If you've had a conversation with them, if you've emailed them, that might be just enough for them to say, "Oh yeah, I remember my friend telling me." Or write them a little note and stick it in their pocket. Do what you can. Honestly, I can't lose because of obscurity. It's not a good enough reason. There's so much, as I said, that someone can do if you have imagination, and as a few people have said, I have a strong will. Some might say stubborn. That's probably just my dad. So thank you so much. And in terms of the mechanics of helping, between now and Election Day and on Election Day, I just want to recognize Jim Kerrigan, who is in the back. And Kevin Moe as well is right near him. Please speak to Jim and Kevin. Please speak to Jim or Kevin or Christy or Molly or Kathy. I mean, anybody who has been very involved in the campaign, and figure out a way that you can help fight obscurity, because it matters. It matters. Voters will choose Lieutenant Governor. This person could easily become the next governor. We can't let people make a choice by default. Thank you for being here. I would like to get to know anybody who I have yet to meet, and there are some new faces. Please make sure you come up and say hello. I'm going to kick back my heels and enjoy the evening. Thank you.